I didn't confront my wife when I found out she was cheating. I didn't cry, I didn't yell, I didn't throw a glass or punch a wall. I smiled. I kissed her forehead like nothing was wrong, and I let her think she was winning. Because the moment I knew for sure. I also knew something else. If I reacted, I'd be playing her game. So instead, I waited. My wife and I had been married for 7 years. 7 calm, predictable years. We were the couple people pointed at when they wanted to describe stable. No screaming matches. No public drama. No vague, cryptic social media posts that made friends pick sides. We hosted game nights. We remembered birthdays. We split chores without keeping score. From the outside, our life looked clean. Organized. Responsible, boring, maybe, but safe. She used to joke that our life ran on routines like a machine. Same coffee mugs every morning, same side of the bed every night, same shows after dinner, like we were replaying the same week on a loop. Back then I thought routines meant loyalty, like we'd built something too solid to break, but routines don't always mean stability. Sometimes routines are just the quiet sound of two people avoiding each other without admitting it. Looking back, the first thing that disappeared wasn't love. It was curiosity. She stopped asking how my day was. Not because she forgot, because she didn't care. She stopped noticing when I came home late, stopped commenting when I went quiet, stopped looking at me when I spoke, like my words were background noise and her thoughts were somewhere else. I told myself this was normal. Marriage settles, right? Everyone says the spark fades. Everyone says comfort replaces excitement, and I believed them. I didn't understand the difference between comfort and neglect. The first red flag wasn't lipstick on a collar or some late-night text she forgot to delete. It was a calendar reminder. I was syncing our shared Google Calendar before a work trip. Just normal stuff, flight times, hotel check-in, the usual. I clicked over to the week view, and that's when I saw it. A recurring entry she'd forgotten to hide, yoga, 7:30 p.m. Yoga. My wife hated yoga. She used to mock it, called it stretching in slow motion. She tried it once with a friend years ago and complained for 3 days. So seeing it there felt like looking at someone else's life inside my calendar. I didn't accuse her. I didn't even sound suspicious. I asked casually, like it didn't matter. Yoga? Since when? She didn't hesitate. Not even a second. Oh yeah, she said, bright and easy. I started going with a friend from work. It's been nice. Her voice was smooth. Practiced, like she'd rehearsed it in the car before coming inside. That night she slept facing away from me, and her phone wasn't on the nightstand. It was under her pillow. I stared at the ceiling and felt something shift in my chest, not heartbreak, something colder, like a switch flipping from husband to observer. I didn't snoop right away, not because I didn't want to, because I wanted certainty. I watched patterns form, like you watch hairline cracks in glass spread slowly until you know it's going to shatter. The late nights increased, excuses got smoother and new clothes started appearing, little upgrades she didn't bother explaining, perfume she hadn't worn in years came back into rotation. Her laughter returned too. That's what hit me the hardest. I hadn't heard that laugh in a long time, not with me, but suddenly. It was back, floating through the house while she texted someone in the kitchen, smiling down at her screen like it held a secret universe. She started taking long showers, she started running errands that took hours, and whenever I walked into a room, her phone would tilt away, screen darkening like it was ashamed. Then came the confirmation, accidental, quick, brutal. One evening she left her laptop open while she went to shower. I didn't even sit down intending to look. I was just passing by, carrying laundry. A message preview popped up, just one line, I can't wait until this is finally over. No name. No explicit detail. No smoking gun sentence that screamed affair. But I knew, because you don't text that to a friend about marriage and not like that. Not with that tone. My hands didn't shake. My heart didn't race. I felt clearer, like my body skipped the emotional chaos and went straight into survival mode. I remember thinking, so this is who you are, and then another thought, calmer, okay? Now I know what I'm dealing with. I became the perfect husband, not because I wanted to win her back, because I wanted her to relax. I smiled more, complimented her in passing, asked about her day like I hadn't noticed she never asked about mine. I booked a weekend getaway she'd always wanted, nice hotel, familiar city, the kind of trip you post photos of to prove your life is good. She softened. That's the thing about people who think they're getting away with something, they start to believe their own story, they start to feel safe. She started leaving her phone around more often, not unlocked, but less guarded. Her body language changed too, less tension, less carefulness, like she thought she'd passed the danger point. Meanwhile, I started documenting everything, not in a dramatic way. Not like some revenge fantasy, quietly, screenshots, dates, times, receipts. I made a timeline. When she said she was at yoga. When she said she was working late. When she said she fell asleep early but her location pinged across town. I didn't want revenge. I wanted precision, because when someone is willing to rewrite reality, you don't fight them with feelings, you fight them with facts. I met the lawyer on a Tuesday afternoon, not some flashy office downtown. Just a clean building with neutral colored walls and a waiting room that smelled like old coffee and printer paper. I sat across from him and explained everything calmly, like I was describing someone else's marriage. He listened. Nodded. Took notes, then he started asking questions I hadn't thought of. How long has this been going on? Do you have shared assets? Any joint accounts? Any debts in both names? Are there children? No kids, thank God for that. I remember thinking that he explained options, not emotionally, strategically, and something strange happened while he spoke. My future started to feel organized, like my life was a messy room, and someone had finally handed me a set of labeled boxes. When I left his office, the sun outside looked the same, cars moved the same, people walked their dogs like nothing had changed, but inside me, something had locked into place. Meanwhile, my wife was planning her escape. She just didn't know she wasn't the first one to start leaving once she felt safe. She got bolder, she started picking fights, small ones. Petty ones, the kind that aren't really about the issue, they're about building a story. Complaints about my tone on my work hours. My lack of passion. How I didn't plan dates like I used to. It was like she needed me to become the villain so she could feel like the hero, and I understood why. If she could convince herself I was the problem, then cheating wasn't betrayal, it was escape. It was self-discovery. It was finding happiness. One night she stood in the kitchen, arms crossed, and said, "I don't think this marriage is working anymore." Her voice wasn't sad, it was rehearsed. She wanted a reaction, she wanted tears, anger, bargaining. I gave her none of it. I nodded. Calm. Agreeable, yeah, I said. Maybe you're right. She blinked. Confused, like she'd practiced her lines and I'd skipped the scene. That was the moment she thought she'd won, because in her mind, my calmness meant surrender. She didn't realize it was something else. It was the calm of someone who already left emotionally weeks ago. She came home early that Friday, happy. Light. Almost relieved. You know how someone looks when they've already made a decision and they think the hard part is over. That was her. I had already packed my essentials, and not everything, just what mattered, the things you take when you're not coming back. The house looked normal. No dramatic empty closets. No smashed picture frames, just quiet. She sat down across from me at the table and took a breath like she was about to announce something brave. "I think we should separate," she said. I didn't flinch. I slid an envelope across the table. She frowned, opened it, and froze. Divorce papers filed. Signed. Detailed, not a threat. Not a bluff. A done thing. Her face drained of color so fast it was almost impressive. "What is this?" she whispered. I looked at her and said, evenly, "You're late." At first, she cried, then she begged, then she got angry, like anger could rewrite what was already in motion. She asked how long I'd known. She accused me of being cold. She said I was cruel for doing it this way. And then, because she needed her story, she tried to make it my fault. "You didn't fight for us," she said, voice shaking. "You didn't even try." That one almost made me laugh, because the truth was, I did fight. I just didn't fight in front of her. I fought quietly, legally, logically, with receipts. I didn't argue. I didn't need to. Everything she thought she controlled had already passed the point of return, and that's the part people don't understand about betrayal. It's not just that someone cheats. It's that they assume you're too emotional to think clearly, too loyal to act, too afraid to walk away. She had built her whole plan around the version of me she thought was weak, and now she was staring at someone she didn't recognize. By the end of the week, I was gone. Not by the end of the month, it was finalized. She never admitted the affair, but she didn't have to. The truth didn't need confession. It was already documented. People think revenge is loud. It's not. Real revenge is quiet. It's when someone realizes they lost before they even knew the game had started. It's when the story they plan to tell, where they're the victim and you're the problem, collapses under the weight of your silence. I didn't win. But I didn't lose either, and sometimes, that's enough. If you enjoy real stories like this, make sure you like the video. It helps more than you think. Subscribe for more narrated stories like this, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.